hello, Ellen.
Well, hello, Trevor.
Another episode of Yard to Table is upon us.
We're
just cranking them out.
Season 2.
Boom, 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 boom.
Is on fire.
We are on, hopefully not literally, because with gardens and compost and things that you don't want to burn that
Season
stuff.
2, we're growing.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is a podcast of puns. We've established this early on in the process.
You do have your dad humor.
Well documented and well known and important.
Which your child really appreciates.
Yeah, my child. If we wanted to start a different podcast on how much our kiddo absolutely just continuous eye rolls most of my jokes.
Yeah.
We could fill a universe of content. We could have movie spin-offs, TV shows, just eye rolls everywhere.
Maybe it's just a parenting podcast. It's Yard to Parenting.
Yard to eye rolls. Eye rolls to table. Which also sounds very bizarre. That sounds like a horror podcast.
Yeah, I don't think anyone would listen to that. Or maybe we might find some friends.
Maybe you'd find an audience.
We don't know. But
who knows? You love a crime podcast.
I do love
also
a
well
crime
documented.
Yes, that's true. I'm not going to lie. I do enjoy that, but I don't see any way to bring that into this genre. So we're going to stay
very true.
With the other things that I love, which are all things Yard to Table. It's true. And also, we were just talking with our guest about this. Scheduling is so...
It's very challenging.
It's challenging because this is a busy time for our friends who grow and do things. And to get anyone to give some time during all of this is just such a gift. So
and we really appreciate that our guest today has given us any time at all, 5 minutes of time.
He's a busy guy.
He does a couple of things, and I'm super excited.
Me too. We've been wanting him to come and join us for a while at the table. So should I introduce him?
Let me think.
Okay, cool. Well, our guest today is equally at ease wrangling microbes beneath a microscope and herding pigs, lambs, and laying hens across 45 certified organic acres. On any given, that's a lot, by the way.
It's a lot of acres.
That's a lot. It's a lot of things and a lot of acres. On any given morning, you might find him moving portable fencing so livestock can graze fresh pasture, or tinkering like an alchemist with aerated compost-tea brew that turns food scraps into living black gold. He's a bridge builder between urban waste streams and rural abundance, closing nutrient loops, boosting biodiversity, yay, and proving that healthy soil really does lead to healthier food. Raised in Connecticut, he created a family business. We know.
That's where we know about the businesses.
We know a lot about family businesses, yes. And teamed up with his mom to launch a Bridgeport Vera micro composting company called Wiggle Room. The best, which rescues local restaurant scraps, converts them into premium worm castings. They even donate soil amendments to school gardens, which is incredible. When he's not leading on-farm workshops or teaching about sustainable agriculture, he's measuring root depth and microbial activity to track progress toward a more resilient ecosystem. One handful of soil, one pasture rotation, and dare I say, even 1 yard at a time. Mm-hmm. We want to welcome to the podcast Justin Hawrysh. Welcome, Justin.
Hello.
Thank you so much. It's great to finally be here.
Oh, we are crazy
Beyond
excited.
excited.
I have literally 10,000 questions.
And you've written them. I have them in front of me. There's so many. There's so many things.
This is going to be a 7-hour podcast today. I hope we're all ready for that.
Well, I mean, there's good stuff here to talk about.
We will have a couple of Well, we're going to get it going. I'm excited. We usually meet people in a yard.
That's true.
And in fact, we met you sort of in a yard. We met you at
a farm.
Hickories. Yeah, at the farm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it counts.
And you were with lambs. And I think the first time we met you was actually...
Was it out in the field?
It was out in the field.
Yeah.
So out in the field is this amazing roaming dinner tour concept where these tables are brought and 200 some odd people get together. And the Hickories have been working with out in the field for quite a while now.
Oh, yeah. Outstanding in the field has been coming for 15 times now. We're at 15 or 17.
That's a lot of years.
It's pretty crazy. A lot of chefs, a lot of meals, and it's always an amazing event there.
Yeah, and they do a great tour every time of the farm, and this happens all across the world, actually. Mm-hmm. And we were lucky enough to go a couple of years ago. We've been a number of times at the Hickories, and Justin always shows all the amazing parts of the farm that he's a part of. And I think that was the first time. And then we got a lamb share
Yes, which was beyond delicious.
Is absolutely delicious.
Yes.
But tell us a little bit about your upbringing and your path to farming and worms and everything. Give me everything.
All right. Well, it's from the start. I moved around a lot. I was born in Singapore and then grew up in Holland.
What?
Wow.
Yeah. So my mom has always been the gardener. She actually became a landscape designer, worked in a lot of flower shops in Holland. So when we came to the States, her go-to was working in flower shops, starting landscape designing, and of course, brought that home. So our yards were spectacular.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my goodness.
All these vegetables, all these amazing plants constantly growing. So, of course, as a growing little child, my chore was all the landscaping, the weeding, all that fun stuff. So that's when
things we try to do with our child.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly.
It was always do enough of these chores, you get some Legos. So that was me growing up.
That's the part we're missing.
Yeah.
TC.
Well, the Lego part, that makes sense. There's a good connection point there. Yeah. So I like that.
So yeah, she would plant these amazing gardens, amazing yards. We'd be working out there all the time. And that's when I got a passion for it, of working with my hands, getting out there, building these things and all these raised beds. At one of our houses, she built this gazebo outside. Crazy different sections of different types of crops that would rotate around. It was really, really interesting introduction, all of it. From there, my summer job in high school, my mom knew Dina, so I got an introduction there.
And so for those our listeners who don't know, Dina is the farmer at the Hickories. Yes, so that's the connection.
Yep. She's run the Hickories, I think, 20 years now.
Wow.
And so my summer job became working at the Hickories. I was working on the harvest crew, shoveling and getting potatoes, hundreds and hundreds of pounds of squash. And I kind of fell in love with being outside, being farming, all the entire world of it, of like creating something from nothing. And it became a passion. So always kind of stuck around in the back of the mind, that part of it, as I went away for college and studied engineering, which was a little different, but I always focused on the biological side of it because I was interested in medicine. So I originally went for mechanical and I wanted to focus in biomedical engineering. The idea was always I'd go to med school after college.
Yeah.
But I found out that I actually didn't love school.
You want to be outside.
Yeah, you want to work with your hands.
Yeah, I was much more practical than the theoretical. So I finished, got out of there and decided that I wanted to work with my hands, do something like that. And I ended up with got into the farming and the wiggle room and all of that. Yeah, just a little different from where I started, I guess, but it's still that biological side of it. The biology.
Well, you obviously pulled a lot through from the schooling because we'll get into that with the wiggle room. So that's it. Really, I love it. So you grew up with exposure and a love for gardening and growing and building things. Obviously, your mom sounds incredible.
Does she still do garden design, or she just keeps it local just for herself?
So she does have a couple clients where she'll do garden design. Some people she's known for a long time.
Of course,
she'll design these amazing. Right now she just finished working on this one where she's designing these river systems in this guy's backyard. They were building from scratch with all this like landscaped giant stone bridges and different gardens following them down. Yeah, these amazing like fairy tale yards. It's really impressive.
So the next time you're here, you can bring your mom.
No, I think she should be. I think she should be here in my seat. Yeah.
We're gonna have her on as well. We have some stone brooks that we do need a little help with. So that sounds perfect.
But I love this because also, as you know, we're a family business. We actually have a lot of guests on the podcast that are family businesses, brothers and spouses and you know, and parents and children. So it's really great. So what inspired you to go into business with your mom and create Wiggle Room?
So Wiggle Room, the idea for it actually came from a company or a nonprofit my mom started with some other people called Green Village Initiative. It's a Bridgeport-based nonprofit, and it's focused on bringing healthy foods and education about growing and gardening and being outside to urban areas in Bridgeport. As they went on, they created 17 different school gardens at different schools in Bridgeport, where they would grow healthy food, be completely taken care of by the school. They would take care of all the plants. They would grow these vegetables, and they'd have salad days and bring them into the actual school cafeterias.
That's awesome.
And give a lot of these children like their first access to growing and to actually eating these healthy vegetables that actually have flavor all of a sudden, which is pretty cool. So
it's
we did
incredible
that.
and transformative because we know a lot of cities have these fresh food deserts, right? Where you can't get that access. So that's incredible.
The corner store is your grocery store.
That's right.
And it's just, not a great way to get going.
No.
Yeah.
But they also, so their big project was the Reservoir Community Farm, which is a urban farm downtown Bridgeport. It's an old strip mall that got torn down. So we just had this huge lot of concrete and surrounded by a barbed fence in a very, not a great area of Bridgeport. Mm-hmm. So the idea was to turn it into an urban farm, of course. So they brought in the community, built raised beds, brought in soil and compost, had everybody come down, built a shed and a barn there, and created this farm from nothing in the middle of Bridgeport. And of course, my mom, she doesn't want to use inorganic practices. She wants to stay away from chemicals and pesticides and all of that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the question was, how do I fertilize and grow plants in this desert in the middle of Bridgeport? And she'd always had in her kitchen this little worm bin with her little worms in there. She would throw her food scraps in there. Had been going for years, just this thing in the corner, which I didn't really know anything about.
You're like, there's something over there that I see is happening, but I don't know what's going on.
Plastic stack of green trays. And I was like, okay, whatever you're doing over there, that's fine. We're throwing the food waste in there. That's cool. But we needed a way to fertilize. So she discovered compost-tea. She took a course with Elaine Ingham, who is kind of the godmother, I guess, of all of this. For us, at least, she's where we learned most of what we know about it. That's where we got started. And she learned about compost tea, where she could take around 10 pounds of her castings, which was a lot of her castings. That was most of it. Put it into a bag, into a 50-gallon drum, which was our original compost tea brewer. It was this 50-gallon trash can. Take some aquarium pumps, throw some heavy rocks on them so she could pin them to the bottom of the trash can. Bubble it up with some cheesecloth around her 10 pounds of castings, turn it into a compost tea, spread that on all the plants, and they had spectacular results.
Wow.
They were able to eventually grow even a couple apple trees there.
Wow.
Great, amazing peppers. And just, she would say to me when she was doing the peppers, as she got to the end of the row with the tea, she knew that those first ones were already perking up. She could see it. Yeah. Which, who knows, but I'll take her word for it.
Totally.
Yeah. But,
Totally.
Yeah. So that was where the idea for Wiggle Room came. I came back my junior year of college, and she was getting into all this. So I helped her out. I was like, okay, I can kind of probably design a better brewer than that. So
this is where the engineering came in handy, right? Yes, I love it.
I love that. I'm so fascinated by all of this.
Yeah.
So we had to learn, like, what are your design concepts? What do you need for these brewers to work? And there's a lot of different pieces. So we found out that using a cylindrical trash can was actually not the most efficient way to do this. And it wasn't the best way. So we had to think about everything has to be aerated. So when you're thinking about compost tea, what it is you're taking worm castings, or you can do it with other normal compost if you want, but we prefer the casting because they're very high in bacterial, fungal, and microbial life. And that's what you want to get into your soil. So you take a bag with we found 400 micron is the mesh size you want to put around it.
Okay.
So we found these official compost tea bags. You put around 10 pounds in there, and then you want it to be constantly aerated. So that's very important because a lot of the beneficial bacteria and microbes you want and your plants want, they need oxygen to survive. Mm-hmm. So they're aerobic is what you call it, versus anaerobic conditions where you don't have enough oxygen. And that's where you'll get a lot of the not so good bacterial life. That's where any pathogens would prosper. They love that kind of environment.
So more aeration, everything stays alive. It's growing. It's
more biodiversity.
In that mix. Got it.
And you can use that oxygen and a couple amendments. We have a recipe that we learned from Elaine that you add some of humic acid, fish hydrolysate, and kelp kelp meal, all mixed up into like
comes
kelp.
back to the
Oh my
kelp.
gosh, so much kelp.
Yes.
Kelp. It's always kelp.
It's the spot, man.
And don't
Susie
forget
Flores
the
of Stonington Kelp.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
There you go.
Susie's the best.
Yeah.
And the crushed up fish, of course.
And of
Oh my
course.
gosh.
Yes.
But yeah, use those. You put the bag in, you have to bubble it and make sure that your entire, whatever system you're using, we use a cone shaped tank because there's no corners. Because in a corner you could have either biofilm or a low oxygen environment, but we have a cone that comes up, the oxygen gets pumped in through the bottom, comes up, spreads out, dissolves into the liquid, and you can bubble it for about 24 hours, kind of disturbs and moves around these castings that are just like kind of suspended right in the middle. And after 24 hours, those bacteria and fungi and all those microbes you want have multiplied billion times into this liquid.
Wow.
And it's just, you can take it, and it's a spray then. And it's a foliage, root drench,
tell
all
us,
of that.
Tell us, because I think it's, our eyes opened to this a couple years ago.
My brain's exploding.
I know.
You know
It's
that,
so-
right? Like,
I
this
know.
is so much awesomeness.
And we use it, and we have seen we see the benefits to the garden. But tell people who don't know, how do I use it in a home garden? And I know there's a couple ways of spraying on the leaves or spraying on soil, but tell us a little bit about how you employ it and why and when. I mean, obviously, great example is you have terrible growing conditions, you're starting a base, but how would a home gardener use it?
So it works as both a foliar spray, so spraying on the leaves, and as a root drench. It kind of has two different uses. It works as first like a fertilizer for giving your plants food and kind of amending your soil. So you really want to get it around the roots. You want to get these microbes into the soil. And what they'll do is they'll improve your soil quality, and they'll also put the nutrients that your plants need in a more plant available form. The fungi in it will attach to your plant's roots, allow them to reach out and kind of grab whatever nutrients you're looking for.
Wow.
And it works kind of like a quid pro quo relationship with the plant, where the plants will give them sugars, and then in exchange, they'll get all the nutrients they need from the soil. So that's really important of rebuilding and creating this living soil ecosystem your plants need. On the other side, it also works to fight off certain fungal diseases. We've had really good luck against things like powdery mildew. So you can spray it as a foliar spray, so on the leaves. And here, the beneficial bacteria will colonize the leaves and kind of outcompete some of these fungi and other negative bacteria for food sources and stuff like that. So they'll actually create kind of a shield on the leaves against some of these things you're trying to fight off. So it kind of works both ways.
We can attest to this. And I remember it was our first Outstanding in the Field dinner, and we were talking about a whole bunch of stuff and how excited we were about really starting to bring Stonebrook back to life. Ellen and I.
Our soil was not in great shape.
It was not in great shape. It was in really bad shape. And we were talking to Dina Brewster, and she said, "You got to try compost-tea." And
we're like, what?
We were like, now what? And she said how much even spraying it on the leaves really helped the tomatoes at the hickories so much. She's like, I didn't think it was going to work. And I said to Justin, I don't think this is going to work. And then boom, it just changed everything. And we did it, and it changed everything.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
And we use it both as a root drench, where we get it unfiltered, and then we get a filtered version that we just put into a garden sprayer, and we just spray the leaves with the same thing. So.
And do you recommend certain times to do both of those applications? Is there a formula for folks to follow? We just wing it. No, I'm just kidding. But
you're not kidding. We do wing it.
We wing it a lot of times. But for our audience, is there recommendations about how to use it both ways?
For us, we do the hickories now. How we do it is we brew weekly. At the hickories, and we use most of it on our crops ourselves. We find hitting a crop around every month, and then when you're transplanting to just kind of giving it nice a drench around the roots is always good. But we usually just we have a little tractor now with a sprayer on it that Wilson drives around. He's awesome. He does a whole farm. It's pretty amazing. He always you get the leaves, give a little bit around the bottom, but we kind of do both at the same time and just continue those around monthly, just re-drenchings and reapplications.
Every month. I got to go back for just a second.
Sure.
Because there's a lot that's happening right now.
I know.
We've had a busy couple of minutes here already. He's just so casually said, and then we just designed this one and we designed this other. I mean, he's just designing whole pieces of equipment that really haven't existed in the same way before. So what was that process like? Because I have in my head like this 1980s science montage visual with like a soundtrack of like Justin like building something and then like
it's a mix of weird science, secrets of my success,
100%, 1,000%,
real genius.
all of those movies all mixed together into this like amazing perfect sequence. And then finally like the cone compost-tea bubbler is made and there's this pin spotlight on it and Justin sits back in the chair looking contented, and that's the beginning. Please tell me it was just like that.
There's some similarities there for sure.
Oh, you just made
so excited.
Day. Tell us, Justin.
So I came in in university and I learned you gotta do everything 3D design and then build your parts. You can custom make some parts.
Yeah.
When you go to like school for engineering, these kind of things, you learn all the theoretical. You learn, in the best case scenario, this is how you build something. You can know how to like 3D design parts and how to like create tolerances, all that stuff. So originally when I was building the brewer and our composter, I went in and built it in a 3D software program, built the parts exactly how I want them. And then, okay, time to get this built. I never learned where do I source parts, what's a commercial supplier.
This is the
I
theoretical versus the practical.
I go to Home Depot. That's what I knew. So I found some of these companies that'll actually make some of your 3D parts. So I need some custom made parts. So I was like, okay, and certain ones needed to be non-corrosive, so they had to be like, you can only use like aluminum or stainless steel. So I was like, okay, I'll get a quote on some of these things, put it together, finally get the quote back a couple of days later. This one part, $5,000.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, this thing is going to sell for $1,200 to $1,300. And this one part is only $5,000. So the problem is, okay, how do I build this super cheap? And of course you have to use only parts that already exist for something else.
Right.
That's what I found.
So it's a whole nother scenario where you're basically like
you're Franken building.
You're NASA.
Exactly.
Like,
you gotta.
How do you make this out of all of that?
Yeah, throw me on it.
It's Apollo. It's an Apollo mission.
13, yeah.
so many movies we're throwing in here.
Right. But so I had to start finding, so I found a tank that's a food safe tank used in diesel applications. I found the piping was from like a brewery piping, and then a pump that's made for medium large size aquariums, and then kind of all these pieces that already existed, threw them together and kind of got to that point where, okay, we put the first one together and it was working and it was pretty good. And of course, there's a couple things you got to tweak here and there, like when someone turned the pump off at the wrong time, we got to backfill, and suddenly, oh wait, pumps don't like water coming into their air outlet. So we create an extra hose that'll take the air above the maximum height of the tank, so that we're not going to have any backfill no matter what. You put a couple of valves in the bottom to stop the pressure, stop any sediment from coming into the actual pump tubing, because that'll clog it up. You had a new support system for the bag to hold it at the right angle, and it was kind of troubleshooting that way until eventually we had this product that it worked.
That's so cool.
We sold the first one that we ever built, and then we made a few more, and then we've been slowly selling them and building new ones as we go.
That's awesome. I love that, because it's like, you have this ingenuity that you need. And so I think so many people think about farming and about doing gardens in their yard, and it's very sort of like nuts and bolts, digging in the dirt. And there is a lot of that. But then there's also this whole other part where it's just really unique ideas that make these big changes. And it's so cool.
And again, to have it be, organic and, having increasing biodiversity, all the good things that we know are so critical for us to be doing when we're growing, to put all that engineering and time and effort and ingenuity into making something that's so beneficial is huge bravo and applause. Like, that's so amazing.
And your castings, the worm castings and all of that, that's certified for organic growing. How does that certification happen, and how does that shape what you do when it comes to what you put into the compost? When
we wanted to be in the hickories, and in order to use anything on an organic farm, you have to be certified for organic growing. So we looked into it. Bay State's the organic USDA certifier that we use the hickories, and we're like, okay, what are the regulations? What do we have to do? They didn't exist. No one had certified organic for compost tea for organic growing. So of course we worked with them, and we actually had to write them.
That's so cool.
We had to write the organic regulations. So we were like, okay, what's important? Because you don't want to do something and someone try to copy it if you write it too loose, and then you end up with either our product doesn't work, or even worse, if they do it something that can actually harm people or plants, because you're spraying these on plants people will be ingesting.
Right.
And although you wash it 3 times before you send it out, you got to be careful.
Of course.
So we had to think of, okay, inputs, only organic. That was our first idea. Everything you put in. So the food scraps we get to make our castings, no animal inputs, no manure inputs, any kind of additive, like I was saying earlier, the kelp meal or the fish hydrol, that'll be all organic, the humic acid, everything. So that's first step. Okay, all the inputs are organic. That's a good start. Second, a brewer has to be made in a way where there's no anaerobic areas. So you have to make sure you have a fully oxygenated brewer. You can test for dissolved oxygen, make sure that you don't have any areas that aren't getting the right oxygen
levels.
levels.
About a cone shape?
That's a pretty good idea. Did you read about this somewhere?
Just coming up with ideas. Use them as you need, but yeah.
Go ahead, Justin.
From there, testing afterwards. So we found, we test our compost and RT microscopically. Microscopically, that's a tough word all the time.
I've stumbled I can never 1,000 times. So go ahead, tell
with a microscope. So we test it all the time, and we wrote the regs. So every certain number of brews, you have to test your tea, see what's in it. You can make sure you have all the aerobic bacteria and fungi you're looking for, and that you're not seeing, say, ciliates, which are these fast-moving little hairy guys that are a sign that you are anaerobic. So we want to make sure we're finding the right kind of microbial life. So we can write regulation of testing it afterward. And then also for the water you use, you want to make sure that you're using either well water, or that if you're using tap water, the chloramine that's in most tap water will actually end up killing a lot of your microbial life. So you have to either let it sit for a certain number of hours, or you can add humic acid to dissolve that after a while. So there's just a bunch of things.
This is robust.
Yeah.
You literally wrote the book on this.
We did have to kind of start from scratch with this. Yeah.
We had all these questions, and it's just leading to more questions. But I mean, again, you talk about this is the knowledge base of having to write regulations. That's a huge piece of this. So who did you do that with? Did you do that with you did it with the state, you said, or was that, or?
It was with Bay State certifiers who work with the USDA.
Got it. So they
helped with the process of this is how you submit. These are the different areas, and okay.
But I have to give my mom most credit for this. She did most of the writing, most putting it together, creating this entire regiment for
moms. Yeah, they're the best.
Yeah, and tell us your mom's name, by the way.
Monique Bosch.
There you go,
Monique Bosch.
Monique. We have to make sure we have all the props there. But that's a huge process, and again, very robust. But as the way it should be, that the testing is so important. This is going on things that are growing. It needs to be safe for people to eat. That's the whole goal of organic. So that's it. Wow, that is a process. That's fantastic.
And where do people get Wiggle Room locally?
Yeah, so right now we have our website, our little really old website that still exists, though. You can order on there. We just do castings, though, on there. And then if you want to get the tea, you can find at Gilberti's in Westport, or at the Hickories in Ridgefield, where you'll find me also. And you can also find the castings, both of those places. And then I think we have a couple more stores just around. Off the top of my head, I'm not totally sure, because they've been rotating around a little bit. People they'll order wholesale orders. We'll send them out some bags, and then we just wait till the next time they need some.
Yeah. How many pounds of castings do you make monthly or yearly?
So
I know a lot goes to the Hickories.
Yeah.
By the way, awesome, because the Hickories makes amazing everything. Just generally, how many pounds do you make?
So it's a little variable. Right now, we're actually moving the business for the third time. So the building we used to be at, you guys probably know the rabbit tree at the Hickories. Yeah. That building's gone. We tore it down a week or two ago.
I was going to say, we were there not
that
long ago, and I saw the building.
Farm store a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah, so that building's totally gone.
Okay.
The whole barnyard you'll see is a construction area.
Oh, wow.
Our bins, which we are currently doing our composting in, are inside of the lamb barn, where during the lamb tours, of course, you would have seen the lambs. But now it is Sarah doing her flowers, and then our compost bins.
Okay.
So
big doings at the Hickories.
What we're doing is we just ordered shipping containers with windows cut out of them. We're going to retrofit to kind of move our entire system into these containers up in another further field a little out of the way. So we're going to try to make them so they're effective year round. And we want to create kind of a small farm model. So it can fully contain shipping container that has your composters you need, a compost-tea brewer, and just everything you would need on a small farm for doing worm composting and the compost tea.
This is awesome.
And
what a great concept.
It's incredible. And is the goal here, obviously you're selling out to consumer, but is the goal also to create these systems that can be built in for other local farms or for agricultural entities? Is this sort of the test of that?
Yeah. So my mom and I have never been good salesmen. Our main thing has always been get other people to do this.
Yes.
We want to spread the knowledge, spread people doing this, get as many people as we can using worm castings, using this different composting method. And the idea is my mom right now is actually working with UConn to do these scientific test trials of compost tea. Going around, they built a compost tea trailer where they have everything you need built into a trailer they take from farm to farm. Spray compost tea, test the results, measure them scientifically with the school there, and the idea is create these modular units that say you have a 45-acre farm or something. How
just
much?
A 45-acre farm. Just say like the hickories.
What did you need, and can you get it all contained one unit? You drop it on your farm, and you're just ready to go. That's it.
Yes.
All you got to do now is feed the worms, keep them alive, and you have enough fertilizer and these amazing the teas and everything coming out of there to work your farm. Yeah.
Ellen, I'm just as a quick note, I'm going to join Wiggle Room because I'm going to sell some of these containers.
I know.
This is my new business. Oh my goodness. This is so smart because...
And it's so important. I mean, it's just so critical. And I'm blown away. I love this. I love this idea.
No, it's great because you do have, I think one of the barriers for so many different things, especially with organic, is just ease of entry. And if you're getting all these things, how do I do it? Even as a farmer, if you're not knowledgeable about the benefits of composting, compost tea, worm castings, which I'm sure everybody that's in the industry understands some of the value of it, just to have it all like hit order and it all comes to you and all you have to do is like fill in the compost part and the rest of it is all a system that is very repeatable. That's really, I think, what helps adoption so much is that you just get it and you stick it in and it's done.
And the studying, I mean, the fact that,
studies are so critical.
UConn is such a incredible, educational institution, and they do so much of this that is so beneficial to our farmers in our state and other farmers. But that's incredible that they're also going to have a study, which there can be information that can be given to help. If there's trouble convincing people into why they would want to adopt into this type of system, that also helps with that as well.
Totally.
Which is, that's great.
And before, I want to go back sort of even to the beginning, because we're talking all about how important compost is. But for people out there that are just starting a garden, to just dig up the dirt, how's it going to go for them? Like, I'm in my backyard that's had a big patch of grass on it forever, and I'm going to dig that up and I'm going to plant tomatoes. How is that going to work?
If you're lucky, it could be good, but
right. But that's I think that's one of the things that I think so few people know about when they're starting, and how we became kind of semi-soil nerds a little bit is just the amount of...
And I've learned today how little I know.
I know nothing, but it's like, I've only seen one episode of Star Trek, but I'm a super fan. How deep do you get in? How important it is to get all of that biodiversity in your soil, and that this is a great way to start.
Our tagline is bring soil back to life.
Love it.
Yeah, you see a lot of we test all these different soils and turf fields with microscopically. So we look at like what you can find. You can't, because you look at dirt, it's dirt. And you can tell some things, like you can see like some more clay or it's drier or wetter, but you don't really know until you really look at it. And we find the best way to do that is with a microscope. And then you can take these areas where you just have grass and you tear them up, look at the soil, and you just see, all right, pretty sparse, not much going on. There's some bacteria, which is good, but you're not seeing any fungi. You're not seeing any like higher trophic levels of these protozoa or nematodes or these other things. And you need a fully diverse, full food chain of these microbes constantly cycling soil into different forms, constantly going through the nutrients. And without that, you can grow plants, but you're not going to have as much luck as you will with a full, like really biodiverse and strong soil. So you need ways to amend your soil. And we found that using vermicompost or compost teas is a great way to do that. You can also do it with normal, like a thermophilic pile, where it's really high in bacteria. You can find good fungi in there. Some places will actually sell you nematodes that you can throw directly in. So there are ways to amend your soil and bring life into it, to kind of bring it back to life that way. We've just found that worm castings are our go-to way to do it. They're very effective. They have a really diverse set of life. And even we'll look under the microscope and we'll see these things called microarthropods, which are these 6-legged, kind of look like these little aliens under a microscope, and they're huge. So like the slide will pin them down and they see them moving everything around, like manipulating the soil and the bacteria and these aggregates. Really interesting level of life that's everywhere and you have no idea. Sometimes when you wipe the slide off after you're done and you're like, you kind of feel a little bad because you just wiping on your pants, all these like, there was like a couple.
Arthur.
Yeah.
Arthur the arthropod. How we knew ye.
Thank you for your service.
We appreciate you. I don't know how long you live anyway, but anyway.
But I think that's the whole idea of soil testing. So that's a huge piece. We test our soil.
We've done with UConn, the soil tests.
And that tells you what's going on to some extent. So if somebody, and I think it's why a lot of people start with raised beds, because they can put in that fresh soil in. But, we just had a guest on. We're just talking about making sure you know where your soil's coming from. So if you're bringing the soil in, you need to make sure that you're very clear about what that soil is that you're putting into that raised bed.
Especially with the jumping worms around too these days.
We've eradicated so many, and we're back big time.
They're
this
back.
Year.
We got it. When we first got here, all of the beds were covered with black plastic. Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And
what little we knew then.
We didn't
do that, but
we didn't
inherited
understand how, and it was probably 2 seasons completely covered with black plastic, just full of jumping worms and all sorts of terrible things. And it took a long time to get all that out. They are back a little bit, I've noticed.
Yeah.
But before because I want to talk about the hickories because there's so much awesome stuff. I told you it was going to be a 7-hour podcast.
I know, Justin, we're so happy you're here. So much fun.
I want to get a little bit more information on nematodes because I think there's such a wide variety. I'm sure like all life on Earth, there's good ones and there's bad ones. And you've talked a lot about bringing them in, but I know that in certain circumstances, like beech leaf disease, things like that, you have nematodes also that are responsible for some of those things. Is it just a difference between these are good nematodes and these are bad ones, or did they have difficult childhoods? I mean, how does that
they turned evil? Is there a way to break that trend?
Watched his parents die in front of him.
Yeah,
exactly. Oh, we heard what happened to Arthur.
Arthur. There is a whole wide range of these guys. We look under the microscope. We usually identify 3 main ones: bacterial feeding, fungal feeding, and there's a root feeding. And you can tell we differentiate them by looking at their mouth shape, where a bacterial feeder will have these huge giant lips that kind of open and close on all the bacteria.
Pac-Man.
And then you see these ones with like these huge teeth in the front. And so
those are the bad guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
They can be.
Just because they have huge teeth doesn't make them
I'm
a
just
bad guy.
saying, that felt very natural. So
that was I apologize.
I'm not trying to like
listeners.
typecast the nematodes with
Wow,
the teeth, but I'm
that
just
is
saying.
rough.
But they are, there is a diverse range of them. The ones we're looking for, the bacterial feeders, are very good for really like bacterial processing and eating it and kind of pooping them out and kind of going through these things like that. They're really good to find. We want to find at least like 1 or 2 per slide we're looking at to show you have like a healthy soil, because they indicate that you have these different levels of life in that food chain going on. But like most things, like bacteria, where you could have these beneficial bacteria versus like a bacteria like all over the place.
Of course.
Yeah, the ones we're trying to breed and select for are the good ones that are going to help your plants. But
just to follow up on that, and probably more in the beginning than now, you have such a process that you use. How often do you find when you're doing the microscopy that you have like, oh, this is a bad batch? Do you get that a lot still, or are you sort of beyond that?
We've gotten to a good place now.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, when we first started, we were taking Elaine's course still, and we had our kitchen worm bin, and we took a sample, and what you do is we have a microscope that has a little camera on it, so you can take pictures of these little cute microbes, and it's really exciting. And we found this really cool guy, and he's got all these different moving parts, and he's really big, and he's like springing around, and we're like, oh, this is awesome. So we take a little video, send it to our teacher. Hey, check what we found. This is so cool. Gets back to us. That is a fruit fly insect larvae.
Oh.
And number one, it explained a lot.
Yep.
It's like, this is why there's fruit flies everywhere.
Yep.
But two, it's an indicator of very anaerobic conditions.
Wow.
So what was the
You
problem
got an
was, yeah. So it was like,
That bin was
hey,
done.
teacher, show and tell, look what I brought in. And it's like, there's a worm in the apple. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It was,
That's a great story.
it was yeah, not great, but we did
Was
find
learning.
out.
You were
yeah,
learning,
What
yes.
we found out was our worm bin was way too wet. When you have, for vermicomposting especially, the most important thing is your moisture level. And a lot of people end up keeping their worms way too wet. They add way too many way too much food waste, way too many like wet, just a lot of discarded fruits and vegetables. And what you end up with is, the wetter it is, the less oxygen.
Oh.
So again, we end up with these anaerobic conditions. So that's why we have so many fruit flies. Where's the smell coming from? That's anaerobic bacteria multiplying. Those are all the anaerobic
That's
conditions.
where the stinkiness comes from.
And a lot of people, actually, this is a big problem with worm composting. People will get this stuff called leachate that comes out of the bottom of their worm bin. A lot of worm bins actually have a little spout for it, which I don't like it, because the way they designed it, it looks like it's like a spout for like a water spout, where it's like, good, you should be using this. That stuff is anaerobic. It is terrible. Do not put it on your plants. People think, oh, it's compost-tea. It is not.
It is the discard.
Yeah, it's the discard. It's this anaerobic.
It's
and
the
if
sewage.
you have a lot of liquid coming out, it means your bin is way too wet. You want your castings where you want to be able to 70% moisture is what we've been taught. So when you squeeze them, they'll hold a form. So you can take a handful, squeeze it together. You might get a couple drops out, but it'll stay compact. But then when you go to like crumble it up, it'll still crumble up and turn back into what it was. So it's not so wet that it stays as a mud pile. And that is your perfect moisture level. So now that we've kind of figured that out, we're keeping that perfect kind of aerobic conditions. And we adjust our food source, like say it's been humid for like now, when it's been humid for like a month now.
Yes,
9,000
exactly.
days
Absolutely
straight.
crazy.
Yeah.
It feels like it's always 10 degrees hotter. It's
Yes.
always fun being outside. But when we have
Thank you.
that,
Thank you for all you do.
we have to
Really, thank you for all you do on 1,000 levels.
we have to add in a bunch of more drier food items to
Right.
when we're feeding our worm bins. We have to always kind of check what we need, what kind of conditions we're getting into. We've sold a lot of worms over the years to other people who want to try worm farm or vermicomposting and that kind of thing. And they come back a month later saying, oh, my worms died. And it's almost 99% of the time, the problem is it was either they soaked them or they dried them out. And they're like, oh, we just kept finding these completely dried out worms trying to escape the bin. Okay, that's you got to adjust it. But it took us a while. It's hard to get that perfect like Goldilocks principle of not too dry, not too wet, right in the middle of what you want. So it is a learning curve. But I feel like, this is our 10-year anniversary of when we founded the company.
Oh,
Congratulations.
congratulations.
Holy smokes.
Kind of funny.
Yay.
It's been a part-time thing for us, but it's been
10 years.
It's been 10 years. So
Black gold.
Thank God we have it now. We know how to keep that moisture level right. Otherwise, geez, to look back on that.
But I mean, it makes sense. You're not going to know that and you created something new. This is incredible. So you're building, and now 10 years later, that makes a lot of sense. You know,
And that's not the only thing you do, by the way, man. You're obviously did all this initial digging. You do a lot of digging. You know this, right? I've been listening to you. You're like a lot in the dirt.
I'm the potato digger at the farm too. So.
You started at the Hickories. You did work there when you were a kid. You came back. Tell us a little bit about that part of your life, because that's a huge part. Outside of having Wiggle Room now there.
And other places, you have this huge role at the Hickories.
The world of Wiggle Room lives now at the Hickories. You do so much with livestock and everything else. Tell us a little bit of how that beginning started.
Yeah, so our Wiggle Room was based in Bridgeport. We were in the GVI basement of the Green Village Initiative in their building there in a loft. It was for one of those basements where you have to I really had to duck pretty much
you're not a short gentleman.
Yeah.
Through all the doorways. And then we went to this little annex that's like hidden behind where we had all our bins lined up in the basement there. Of course, it's full of like spiders, which is fine. It's like all these sorts
That's
of
where
like.
Ellen says no thanks.
Oh yeah.
Not in a not in a low ceiling environment. No, thank you. I cannot. No, sorry.
Bugs everywhere, but it was fine. We had everything set up. It was pretty much free rent, and we just gave them castings and all they wanted, which was great. But eventually, they actually ended up having to move out of that building. So this was it was just before COVID. It must have been like 2019. We needed a new place to move all of our bins. We had all of our entire business. So of course, Dina was nice enough to say, "Hey, move it here. You can move everything to the farm."
She's so cool.
Yeah. So that was a godsend. So of course I think it was a December day. We had the moving truck reserved, everything all ready in advance. And we get a snowstorm that night. So we come in, I have this stupid 2-wheel drive car, gets like barely make it there to the loft. I end up leaving it stuck on like the side of one of the side streets there. I was like, I'll come back for it later.
Oh my gosh.
We carry all of our bins up the flight of stairs, because of course we're in a basement, we got them in the truck, get everything loaded up.
And it's cold. You're like, we got to keep everybody good.
But you have to trudge through like the 3-foot snow drift in order to get to the truck, because it's just all the snow had been piled up there. Made it out, got everything, got it all moved to the Hickories, started to set up, but it got it all done that day, which was a pretty quick. A couple of my friends came and helped out. They were very nice to lend their time for just a pizza.
Those are the good friends.
Yeah, those are the good ones.
Yep.
But we got it all moved over. And then, we started up Wiggle Room there. And then I was doing our Wiggle Room, the QuickBooks, all that simple stuff and all that stuff. And then, but the Hickories, their person used to do that, left. So Dina was like, "Hey, do you want to also do ours?" So I started, okay. So one morning a week, Monday morning, I would come in to kind of update their QuickBooks, put like all their Square stuff, do their like bank deposits, that kind of stuff. And then it's a little more and a little more. And then like, "Oh, do you want to help in the field?" So I was like, "Oh, I love it. Yeah, of course I'll help in the field a little more." So then slowly, and then I'd start learning. Laura was there. She's the amazing livestock manager who I learned most of this from. Her, and then Jackie had also the farm manager. She had gone to school for livestock. So I started to learn more about that. Eventually, Laura actually left the farm to start a family and kind of focus on her flower business. And then I ended up
We're talking about Laura Mulligan.
Laura Mulligan, the amazing Laura Mulligan.
Yes.
Some of the most gorgeous flower designs, like, period.
That's a whole nother conversation.
Her creativity with that is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. Yeah,
they're so wild and they're so
gorgeous,
local and real and amazing. She's awesome.
Architecturally stunning too. So.
And amazingly smart, and taught me so much about. I mean, I came in. I don't know about livestock. I'd worked I'd volunteer EMT, so I'd been helped a little bit with the like the injections and that kind of stuff. I knew that stuff. I knew kind of like some of the health stuff.
Yeah,
but I came in kind of green in there, and I was like, okay, Laura was gone. They needed someone livestock. I'm like, I love it here. I'll try it out.
I love this.
Like 4 or 5 years ago, maybe 5 now. I don't know.
So essentially, you're like a Hickory stalker.
Yeah, I guess so. I
just moved from like, hey, what's going on over here?
Don't let me get my foot in the door.
Here. I'm gonna.
I was just thinking like
the best kind of stalker ever.
I'm thinking more. It's like you're like, oh my, like I love that you're the curiosity and the openness and the excitement of like, I'm going to try it. I've never made compost tea. Let's build a thing to do it. I've never managed livestock but like, sure, let's learn.
Always loved animals. So it's like, I got my foot in the door and kind of kept pushing.
Well, and a highlight of our,
which I love that.
Which we love.
Totally our vibe.
But a highlight of our spring is always to come for the lamb tours and to sit in the barn with all those lambs. Our daughter, it's the highlight. She's always, when are the lamb tours opening? When are the lamb tours opening? That is just, it's such an incredible experience. We don't tell her that they then go into the lamb share. She does love lamb.
She loves lamb though.
Those are different lambs. They go to different school.
That's right.
She will eat an entire rack of lamb with not a problem at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Easily.
She chooses to disconnect the concepts, and we're all on board with that. But yeah, it's such an incredible experience to sit there for like an hour and just like snuggle on some baby lambs.
And it happens multiple times in the spring, right?
Yeah, so we'll do, actually, it's one of our most expanding products right now is the lamb tour.
People love it.
People come from, apparently there are some of our tickets on like Ticketmaster or something. So when I'd
Really?
resold them, someone in New York bought them, came down and was like, yeah, I have no idea how these people how these are getting out. Yeah, we went from 3 years ago, or I guess 2 years ago, we started with just like a couple, every week. We do like one a weekend. And then last year we did, okay, maybe I can do 2 a week or 3 or 4 a weekend, and started going up. And this year I think I did 7 one weekend.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I mean,
It's
the
your
lambs,
whole weekend.
Oh yeah, pretty much. The lambs love it though. We get the friendliest lambs. I would put our lambs against any other lambs.
They are friendly.
They are the friendliest little lambs. They love people. They love snuggles. They just get scratches all day and get to hang out with people.
It is
so great.
Almost cathartic experience going there, because imagine this, listeners, you're in a barn that is a beautiful historic barn, and you're sitting amongst just the most adorable baby lambs.
And the mamas.
And mama lambs. And they're snuggling up on you. Sometimes you can pick one up and it'll just sit quietly in your lap. Sometimes they're just wandering around and frolicking and being adorable. And I mean, how does this not sound like an amazing idea? It was outside 2 years ago. We did it outside.
I think we had
this
some
year
weather
was in
this
the
year.
barn. Yeah, it was a little bit of weather, but both times was
still great.
Absolutely magical.
I'd assume a good moneymaker for the farm too, right?
It covers my entire straw and hay bill for the winter.
That's awesome.
Which is always, because you're not making any money in the winter,
so
really.
important.
And it's getting really expensive to keep sheep. It's this area of, especially like around here, it is not a moneymaker. So these lamb tours have been a godsend for that.
So friends, if you're out there in the spring, you've got to sign up. And apparently Justin's going to do these tours 24 hours a day next year. So you might want to, if you
just wait for the after dark.
If you can only get the, he paints them neon and shines a black light on them. And it's an amazing, that might be a little too much. That might be too much. That might be too much.
But I think that this is a perfect example, because the Hickories does a lot of programs. We're going there tonight.
Yes, we are.
For a foraging walk, and dinner, which
is going to be great.
Two of our former podcast guests, Amy Demers from the Connecticut Foraging Club and Janae Hibansky
from Herbaceous Catering. But I think that's why it's so important to support the programming that our local farms do, because this is, for example, the lambs, it's paying the hay bill and it's keeping it going. It's to buy your CSAs. It's to do the shares, because it's so incredibly important. And the programming just helps continue to support the work that these really important cornerstones of our community are doing and sustaining in our environment. Let's get into it. I'm very passionate about that.
You are very passionate. And I think the fun thing about the Hickories also is it's not just lambs, not just sheep.
I love the pigs.
You guys have pigs.
Pigs are my favorite.
Chickens. Pigs are Ellen's most favorite.
Last year for Outstanding in the Field, you guys had put the little pen of pigs up at the front.
Oh, that was good.
It was very hard for me to walk away from that pen. I really just wanted to hang out with the piglets. I was like, this is my favorite moment right now.
I thought everybody would be congregated around it the whole time.
It was just me.
There were a few people like you for sure.
I thought
if I was
Justin's
there,
like, I remember. I was
probably,
like, Ellen, it's time
I'm probably not maybe the crowd, but I would have been also. I'd be right beside you. Just okay, we got piglets here.
I kept going back, because then I was like, am I weird? Because I'm like, because I think I was one of the few people, and Trevor, of course, because he has to come with me. He didn't have to. I was fine by myself.
I like a pig too.
Yeah,
by the way.
But I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll walk away. But then maybe I could come back and look at these pigs. But
so how do you balance all of these different types of fantastic beasts around? Because I know that there's a whole process that you have around rotation, and because the pigs are like big rooters and chompers, and the chickens do their thing. Like, how does all that work at the Hickories?
Yep. So all of our livestock is rotationally grazed. They're all on pasture all the time. But they work a little differently. So the sheep will bring through a field first. Usually, they will eat. They're kind of spoiled. They'll eat their favorite foods first. And then they'll start making a little bit of noise, and then they'll eventually get to the food they don't love as much. So they'll go through, kind of eat all of that, fertilize the field.
Children.
Yeah, really, yeah, exactly.
Just like children.
Do a really good job that way. There are great natural lawnmowers. So they'll come through, really good fertilizing too. And then sometimes we'll put the chickens through afterward. The chickens will, again, eat a lot of whatever the sheep don't like, the chickens will kind of eat. They're not as picky. They will eat whatever they got.
How many chickens do you have?
So we are, I'd say, around 450, 460.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm talking about. So you're talking about some free ranging 400 and some chickens out doing their thing. Their eggs are incredible, by the way. Go to the farm stand, but keep going.
Yeah, so the chickens,
I want people to understand the numbers.
400 chickens.
We'll start numbers
sheep,
too.
Yeah.
So sheep wise, we bred 19 ewes this year. We got 38 lambs. So we average exactly 2 lambs a ewe. We have our ram and our one companion sheep, Patrick and Jed, those two. We have to keep them a little separate. And then we had our 7 of the lambs from last year that we kept. So in total, I think we had 63, our flock is 63 sheep, but we're in 3 groups. So they all move at least once a week. Chickens, we have 450 of them. They'll move twice a week, every Monday and Friday. We're moving them. We move them to a new section. We have 3 electric nets we put around them, 3 that are each 150 feet. So they get this nice section they can move to. They eat it down and move them again. A lot of moving with the chickens.
Yes.
And then the pigs, we have 10 pigs right now, and we're getting 10 new piglets on Thursday. So
Ellen will be there on Friday morning.
Oh my gosh. I love it
it's
so
a little
much.
bit up in the air because our barnyard is currently, like I said, a big hole in the ground. Wow. So we're going to find a new field to start our piglets in. But yeah, very excited for that. So we send the chickens in afterward. They'll do some more fertilizing, kind of eat the stuff the sheep didn't like. I originally, at one point, I had read that they'll eat. So the main parasite with sheep and the main killer of sheep in this area is the barber pole worm. And it causes anemia. We give the sheep the health checks every 2 weeks, and then every week when it gets really hot. And you can do a FAMACHA test where you'll pull down their bottom eyelid, see how red it is, and it can indicate how anemic they are. Once they're at like almost a white level, you have like a 50% chance of saving them.
So where do they get the worm from?
This has been the Hickories, that area has been a sheep farm for over 100 years now.
Okay.
And it's just that pile up of having sheep that long. At some point, some sheep came in with it. And once it's in your soil, if you keep grazing,
you cannot get it out.
It goes in the sheep. It goes into the manure. Different larval stages will grow in there.
The process repeats.
So I originally read that having the chickens after the sheep will actually eat the larva. That has been disproven, unfortunately. But they do.
That would have been great.
That would have been awesome. I was like, perfect. I can finally. But there are ways to combat it where we don't return to a field with the sheep until like 8 weeks later. We have to let them rest for 8 weeks. That'll get through the different larval stages of the parasite.
So many things. There are so many things. Oh my gosh, Justin.
But so they will eat other different bugs and kind of things like that, though, the chickens, which is good. And the pigs, of course, are, as you said, they will tear anything up. So we have these overgrown areas that we just can't get into with like our tree trimmers or whatever we need to get in. We just put an electric fence around it, throw the pigs in there, and they will tear that field up in a week or two. And it is just leveled. Just like all you got is just like some skinny empty branches. So it's absolutely amazing.
It's my spirit animal. I love it so much.
Throw them on our rock walls. Yeah. They'll just go all over and just kind of work their way down, eating it's amazing. So they each have their own kind of use. We can use them together to just renovate fields, and you get to feed the animal while you're doing it.
Amazing.
That's awesome.
I love it so much. I love it. No goats, right? There's no goats in this
There
mix?
used to be goats, but not anymore, no.
Okay.
And is there a plan to sort of expand the livestock scenario there? Or are you at Hickory's just good with what you guys have?
So sheep-wise, I think we're near our pasture capacity, or like what I feel comfortable with. We could have more. We'd have to decrease our resting periods on our fields. And I don't want to do that until we get to a point where we have if we have a crazy good parasite resistance someday. So I was saying we test every either 2 weeks or every week for we do like weight, their body score, and then their FAMACHA, their eye test.
Yeah.
And so in the past, we have found that we had to deworm at least maybe a third of our flock by this point in the year.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So every year when we choose which lambs we're going to keep for breeding, the main component we look at is how many times did I have to deworm this sheep during the year.
Oh, yeah.
So that's how we're trying to build our parasite resistance through there.
So a little genetic
just
choices to just try to help the process. That's awesome.
We have, it's a 5-number score sheet we give each sheep but this is the most important one of if I had to deworm you twice or more, I'm sorry, even if you're my favorite sheep, I can't keep you because you're going to have lambs that are also not going
It's
to
gonna pass it on.
Yeah, we found that there's genetic factors that way. So we found though this year we went to a new breed of sheep for our ram, and we found so far in the year, I'm going to knock on some wood.
Yeah, knock them. Here, I'm knocking for you.
No dewormings yet.
Wow.
Everyone's got a really strong, really good color of the FOMACHA score, and they're all healthy. They're growing well. So I'm sure I'm just jinxed it. I'm going to come back.
Gonna happen.
I got to test on Wednesday.
It's like talking about traffic.
Check on Wednesday. So,
but that's a pretty good run.
That's amazing.
Until this time of the year, right?
And what's the new breed?
So we went to a Tunis sheep this year.
Okay.
That's a Tunisian breed.
Oh, I remember you talking about that at the lamb event.
So as we went through, when I started, we had a Romney ram, which is a pretty large, stocky sheep, good wool, good meat. From there, before that, actually, I have to go. Cheviot sheep was before that, and they're these medium-sized sheep with these big bunny ears, very cute, very cool sheep. Generally very flighty. Although the ones that we have that are still around with Cheviot traits are actually our most friendly sheep, which is pretty cool.
That's cool.
They're those big ones. You'll see like the 200 pounders, the two of them.
They
sisters.
sidle up.
They're great.
Oh, they sidle up. They're like, oh yeah, you're scratching my ear.
You're scratching me? Yeah.
Hello.
I'm cute too.
Hello there, sir. You may continue.
So then we did Finn sheep, 2 different Finn rams the next 2 years. Finn are great wool quality, great meat, really good sheep, but they're extremely prolific. So we were finding we were getting more than an average of 2 lambs per sheep, which, I mean, great, lots of lambs, but also that means you're bottle feeding one of those lambs because
it's just, there's only so much mom can do.
Have 2 teats, and so one gets stuck in the back and ends up getting like peed on. Poor lamb. So gotta wash it off, give it a bottle.
Yeah.
It's just, so stop it. But they also, their size is a little smaller because they're a little more prolific, not as big though. So the Tunis sheep, we wanted to up our size, and Tunis is kind of that next step higher. They also have great wool, and we found actually Jackie found one of her friends was breeding Tunis sheep in the area, and they had found this ram that there were a couple rams available. They didn't end up choosing this one because he has some scurs on his head, so he's not a perfect ram. But we're not showing sheep, and he's amazing, and he's got this crazy good. He's got this perfectly straight back. Like really good ram. So we're like, all right, awesome. Grabbed him.
He's our guy.
Bred him last year. And for the first time since I've been there, we're going to breed him actually a second time this year. So we kept him all winter. Yep.
That's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, with some great lambs. But coming back to it, that is, I think for now, our maximum sheep capacity.
You're out where you need to be.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sorry, I was just going to say, you were talking about the wool. I mean, that's the other thing if people aren't aware. I mean, the Hickory's really does, you get every little bit of the animal and put it out there for use and purpose. So, I mean, there's incredible wool socks, and you have shearling, like, you know, the people can purchase, and
it's everything. Hats, gloves.
Yeah. And it's all coming from your sheep, which is really great.
Yeah. New hats and gloves that are apparently in the mail right now from the mill. So I will be waiting for those. Sometimes it takes a little while.
Get to the farm store.
I have about 150, 160 pounds of wool in the hay mow that I have to actually bring to the mill. Definitely it's on my list of things to do. It's always...
I think you got a long list, my friend.
Yeah, you have some things.
I think you got a list.
And I mean, we've taken up so much of your incredibly valuable time. It's bananas. I could go on literally for 1,000 years. And we may have you back just to cover the rest of what we're talking, because it's so fantastic. What's the plan for you in the next 5 years? You have this is my magic wand question. You have a magic wand that you can wave, and for wiggle room, what's your and the Hickories, what are you thinking?
All right. So for wiggle room, I think we're trying that new modular container
system,
idea and designing our new composting bins. We're working on that right now. We're going to kind of start to set them up, build into them, and then once they're finished, we'll try to sell the first as a prototype or try it out and like that. And then we'll kind of tweak it, see what we need to change, and kind of go from there, see if it works at the cost, at the price point we can get to. And kind of that's our focus right now, building these full systems. So it's going to be a lot of brewers being built, a lot of composters, probably a lot of redesigns of that composter to get it to a good point. And
good thing you know an engineer.
Good thing. And so just kind of building that whole thing out, I'm sure we'll run into a lot of problems. So that is going to be a while. And then at the Hickories, so we've kind of been expanding every year as we go since I started, where I became my second year there after coming back, I became full-time pretty much. We're able to, because of farming's hard. You're not always able to support someone full year round. It's very seasonal. So you lose a lot of great workers in the winter. And you really, when you find someone really good, you don't want to lose them. So I end up getting salary, and now we're doing more farmers markets. We're expanding into more wholesale, into more, and our CSA slowly gets bigger every year, no matter what. Like, we're like, okay, you might not get as many people this year. And then eventually, no, we still end up doing it. And it always makes us feel good.
Yes.
And yeah, so we're slowly, so now we're able to make Brendan, who's this amazing, he started with landscaping. Then we found him. He just took the job on a whim, I guess. And he's absolutely awesome. He's really expanded his role into the field manager role now.
That's great.
And so now we're able to finally offer him full year salary and employment. So, because we really don't want to lose someone like him. So he's there. So now, but as we go, now we have 4 full-time employees at a farm, plus I think we have 3 or 4, we have 4 seasonal employees too this year. So the goal is always, of course, the more people we can bring in, the more people who get to experience farming. Because if you're farming, you're not doing it for the money. You're not doing it because it's just the way it's hard, but you have to love it. And we find the people that stick around, the people that stay there, they absolutely love it. And finding those kind of people and giving them the opportunity to farm is it's such a big part of what the Hickories is about. And being able to offer these employment in these longer positions like that, really big for us. So kind of slowly expanding each of our revenues. We all work together, but then we're always kind of like competing, where Sarah with her flower, where she's kind of building it up every year more and more, these amazing flower bouquets and these workshops she does. And then Brendan and Jackie, of course, with the vegetable side of it and building out all these new ways to new crops to bring in, new outlets for sales, and really cool things and really cool innovations that way. And then not me with the livestock trying to okay, can I make this profitable? Because it is, unfortunately, it's been a tough one. We're getting closer and closer, because when you you make money and then you throw all the labor and the overhead in, it's like, okay, maybe,
and then
why is my number not so green anymore?
And then you have things that impact disease and weather and all those other things. This is the stuff. But, we're talking about how do we support? We're going to put all this information in the show notes, where you can get wiggle room, how you can get everything on the connection to the website. The Hickories, there's a farm stand that's open pretty much every day. You look at the hours on the website, right?
Every day but Monday. We're open from 10 to 5. And then a little later on Fridays and Wednesdays, those are our CSA pickup days.
Yeah.
So we're still around.
So you can, if you don't have a CSA, you can stop into the store. You can get, we talk about this all the time, our favorite salsa.
The greatest salsa on the planet of
You can
Earth.
also order it for gifts and ship it to people, which we've done.
Christmases.
Yes,
That's
we
our
do.
Christmas.
The red and green salsas are such a nice Christmas
easy.
gift. Yes, a nice holiday little gift that you can do. And then you can go support at farmers markets. So, I think you guys are obviously Ridgefield Farmers Market, which is now
that's our home turf.
That's right.
It's on now, actually.
And then alternating, you're at the Westport Farmers Market, and now Rowayton every week, right? So
lots of different options.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you have an opportunity to get something there too.
That's three markets in a row. That's not too bad, right? You can do that. Woo, we just did.
How's it been so far?
There was we got an extra Westport one. So we actually ended up 3 weeks in a row of triple markets.
Yeah.
And
it's a lot.
It got to the point where this week we only had 2 markets this week, and we were all on Thursday looking around like, wait, are we supposed to be doing something right now? Like, it just felt weird to not be loading up the van and getting all these extra vegetables, doing extra harvest. We're like, okay, no, we're okay. This is fine.
And here on Yard to Table, we're all about helping farms and coming up with ideas for profitability. I think you could easily get fully profitable by doing a piglet tour for one with Ellen. And I think she could close the gap on any profitability.
I would be like-minded people as well.
If that was possible.
Yes.
Because she is ready for a solo piglet tour of just 10 piglets hanging out with her.
I think our daughter would definitely
our kiddo might
want to
come too.
Yes.
But it would basically be 2-3 weeks of her just sitting there.
I'd be in there making mud pies with those pigs.
You would.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah,
100%.
So just think put it in the back. Talk to Dina about it and see if she'll let Ellen come and tour. So.
But exposure to piglets, people love that. You need it. They're
so much fun.
Adorable. Justin, oh my gosh.
Oh, boy.
How can we thank you? This has been so incredibly
Couldn't have been any better.
enlightening and fabulous.
That was fun. But I do also, as we started with the
Yes.
lampshares, I have to mention the lampshares because
Yes.
this is my plug.
Yes, please plug away.
Please do.
That is our big thing. We don't have a ton of freezer space and we have a lot of labs. So again, the end of this year, probably around November, December, that's when we'll be selling our lamp shares. I will contact you. You'll talk to me directly. I will go through a cut sheet with you. I will ask you how you want each part prepared. I can tell you, give you hints, give you tips, whatever you want. And I think I got some spoke people here who will tell you it's a pretty good lamb.
It's delicious.
Absolutely phenomenal.
Yes.
It is some of the best I've had.
And as we've done it, and we're ready to do it again this year, Justin does exactly that. And even when we picked up the lamb, you were like, okay, geez, this is what you wanted. This is what we have. Do you want to switch anything? It was just, based on what you had available. It's a tremendous experience, delicious, and put it right in your freezer. And then you're good to go.
Buy the lamb, people.
Yeah.
Because it's good.
It's delicious.
And it's delicious.
Yes. And go to the lamb tour. Just don't think about both.
Yeah. No, you can, they're far enough apart where you got 6 months to forget.
You're fine. Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah.
Justin, we could literally talk to you all day.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate you coming, and we've had a blast.
All right, me too. That was great.
Thanks for being with us and having a seat at our table.
Yard to Table is a production of Macrocosm Entertainment. Don't forget to rate us and subscribe anywhere you listen to podcasts. And for tips and more information, follow us on Instagram @Stonebrook House.